All right, thanks for joining me for part 2, where we're going to take a look at a couple more examples together before you are off and on your own. So let's take a look here. We've got y equals 5 over 2 times x plus 2. So the first thing we're going to look for is our y-intercept, which is this number out here, positive 2. And our slope is going to be right there, 5 over 2. Remember, that's our m value. So that means our rise is 5, we're going to go up 5, and our run is 2. Since our slope is positive, this is going to be an uphill line. So let's begin at our b value, y-intercept. Begin at 2. Now, if I rise 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, I can estimate, because it's pretty close. So it's going to be up here somewhere, and then over 2, right about here, and that's just estimating 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then over 1, 2. But it's off the graph, so if I want to be extra sure, just to make sure that this line is straight and correct, I can do this like I went up and to the right. I can do it in the opposite direction. I can go down 5, 3, 4, 5, and then to the left 2. And there should be a point there as well. Now when I lay down my straight edge, I can see that, yeah, my estimation was pretty close, but I'm going to trust my points on the graph the most, the ones that are actually on the coordinate grid. So you always want to try to get at least 2 points actually on the grid. Now that you've got your line graphed, you look and say, all right, I was expecting an uphill line, and if I go left to right, that's exactly what's happening. This is an uphill line, which means I graphed it correctly. Awesome. All right, why don't you pause the video and tackle, let's do this one here. Pause the video, tackle this problem, come on back when you think you've got it. All right, so we're going to take a look at this together. First thing we find is y-intercept, which is going to be our b value out here by itself, so -1. That's where we will begin when we go to graph. Then we need our slope. Slope is the m value, which is right in front of the x, in this case 1 over 4. That means my rise is positive 1, my run is 4. All right, my slope is positive, which means I am going to expect this graph to create an uphill line when I look at that line going left to right. So let's see if that's what happens. My beginning point, my y-intercept, is -1, so I'm going to begin there. I'm going to use my rise and my run to tell me how to move my m value. Up 1 over 1, 2, 3, 4. 2 points on the graph, that's pretty good, but I can also go the opposite direction if I want, just to be sure that I've got a good solid line. And once I have those, I can go ahead and connect them, using my straight edge, of course. Straight edge through and arrows on both sides to show that it goes forever. And this, going from left to right, is an uphill line, which is exactly what I expected, so I know that I graphed it right. Okay, let's take a look at another one together. I want to take a look at this one. All right, I want you to pause the video and try this one, but I want you to be careful because there's something tricky here. Notice that there's no number in front of the x. Well, there is, but it's an implied number. So anytime there is no m value, I want you to remember that it's actually going to be 1. So pause the video, see if you can figure out what that's going to mean for your graph. Come on back when you think you've got it. This is a positive slope, so I know my line is going to be an uphill line. How'd you do? Hopefully you remembered that if the slope is 1, that's the same thing as 1 over 1. So your rise is 1 and your run is 1. So you could just go up 1 over 1 to find your other point. And that was a tight fit. So we went ahead and did the reverse or the opposite as well, where we went down and to the left. But you always want to try to go to the right first. And if that doesn't work, well, then you can go the opposite direction. Awesome. Why don't you pause the video and try this one? one last one to try on your own, and then it'll be your turn to figure them out. How did it go? Hopefully you were able to see that your slope was just a rise over run, your y-intercept was at -2, and since your slope was positive, this was supposed to be an uphill line going from left to right, as you can see that it is. Now, I do want to point out that this last one is going to be a little bit tricky. So before you graph it, I want you to think about, all right, if I put this in y equals mx plus b, what is m going to be? And what is b going to be? See if you can figure that out. I just might have a chocolate for you if you can figure it out before class tomorrow. Thanks so much for watching. Have a great night. We'll see you soon.